Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. You know, I think it's always awesome when we think things don't fit, because they always do. They really do. And this morning, I was really moved by Sandy bringing in one of the ancestors this morning of this place, this center. And I'm happy to see that they're showing up in our memory and that we get to know these people who have made it possible for us all to be here today. And each one of them brought a gift, right? And that gift of knowing that we're one big family is the idea that they upheld here and that we still uphold at Center for Spiritual Living, Menifee Valley. And you know, I love that. I love that we have all of this space filled with so much love and so much energy. And this morning I can see people who have energy in different levels, right? So I'm going to say good morning one time, and I want you to just shout it back to me. And remember, God is good. So when we say good, we're saying God. Good morning.
Good morning.
And let's take a deep breath. Oh, and on the out breath, enter that place of stillness. And in that place, allow a God quality to come to you. And it will be your inspiration for today. It could be light. It could be love. It could be power. It could be abundance. It could be wholeness, truth, divine intelligence, wisdom, peace, joy. Any of those words are God words. So just take a moment. What is the word that comes to you as the goodness of God? And just breathe that word in. And when you feel like you're embodying it, you can feel it. Let it permeate this sanctuary. Let's just fill this sanctuary up with all those God qualities. This is a holy place where we are gathered. Now take a moment to share your word with a neighbor as your greeting. You might say, I greet you with love. I greet you with joy, whatever it is.
Happiness.
Happiness. I greet you with happiness. Perfection. Just hear all those words that have gone into this sanctuary. How beautiful it is and how wonderful it is that we have this opportunity to express God in this moment. And, you know, I can feel this room just filling up with the energy of the divine. And I hope you can feel that too. Because we're gaining sensitivity on this spiritual journey, aren't we? So we can feel the energy of those around us. And because we can feel that energy, you know, we take care of it, right? We take care of that energy too, to make sure that we're putting out those God qualities that we want to see manifest in this world. So everyone's been talking about the theme for this month. It's my passion, my purpose. And last week we talked about awakening to our passion. And there was a little bit of homework to do. And that was really easy, just to think about during the week what kinds of things really made you joyful as a child. What did you like to play? It's sort of getting us into that idea of what we love, and what gets our juices flowing, and what allows that life energy just to blossom in us. And that's our passion, right? So some people may have done the homework, and if you didn't, do it this week. We'll continue it all month. Just remember what it is that you wanted to express as a child in your play. And I remember every time I think about being a child, I get happy because I remember doing all kinds of things that brought me joy. And as a curious child, I like to explore all kinds of things, and all kinds of things brought me joy. And I realize that I have that spark that I get when I remember being a child and being happy and filled with joy. And we had something on Facebook that Kara put out. She talked about our homework for the week. And we got a response from Mary Beth on Facebook. And she said that one of the things, yes, she said she did play classroom and teacher as a child.
No surprise on that one.
And she liked to put on plays. And I immediately responded. I said, oh, let's do it. Because that was something that I loved too as a kid. And I remember we would get all dressed up. We'd make costumes out of sheets and scraps of old material and old clothes and, just whatever we could find. If someone's parent had some kind of jewelry, we would kind of surreptitiously take that jewelry so that we could use it in our play. And then, all of our friends and our family, our siblings, everybody would come together so that we could put these plays on for them. And it was just right there, in the living room, right? And everyone would laugh and have a lot of fun. And I don't remember any one of the storylines of those plays. The only thing that I remember is that people laughed and enjoyed themselves. And we, as the performers, we loved it. We just loved making everyone happy. And, that joy that came from it, that's passion, right? That's passion at work, when we are actually engaged in this flow, this flow of energy, this flow of joy. In this case, it was joy. And sometimes, there's other things that I remember giving me joy. I remember for my family, service was very important, and my mother really cultivated service in our family. And I remember the first time that I felt that I was participating in service as a child. And just that, I think it was a feeling of peace and satisfaction that just washed over me. It was so amazing to see what a small act of kindness could mean in a person's life. And I'll be forever grateful to my mother for teaching me about service and what it gives you. And that was her passion. Her passion was service in life. And she was very active in the community, and people came to her for all kinds of things, different kinds of things that were going on in their life. They would come to my mother because she was very young, but she was wise, and they would take her counsel into their life. And, and that was her passion. She was a very kind person. And that extended throughout her life as who she was and who she lived. So these things are, passion is something that we are actually born with. We have it. We have it right at the center of our being with all those other God qualities that we talked about this morning. It's there, and it's ready to be rekindled at any point in our life. And one of the things that I love about the time we live in is that we can explore so many things. Doesn't matter what your age. I haven't been in a play in I don't know how long. Maybe 60 years? Yeah, since high school, right? So maybe 60 years. And when Mary Beth mentioned that, I thought, oh, that would be so much fun, right? So it was reignited. That was reignited in me. And, who knows, maybe I will be in a play with Mary Beth sometime here in our center. Okay, we got another one. And, we know that about Bill. Of course, Bill will be in the play. But that's just how it works. We have things that we've carried as little seeds in our life, and they reemerge at different times. We may have put them away. There may be something that you did as a child that, or a young person, or maybe in your 20s, 30s. And, depending on your age, you may have done something every decade that you focused on. That's kind of my story. It seems like I've done every job under the sun, from being a hotel maid to a university professor to a community organizer, journalist, founder of a nonprofit organization, minister, and mother and grandmother, spouse. I've had so many roles in different decades of my life, and that's what's so great. Our passions can be reignited over and over again. We have that, and in our power. And at this point in my life, I am passionate about ministry. I am just so excited about it. And I think about when I was a little girl and I would hear people speak who moved me. I would practice in my room speaking. And I was very tiny, little. And I would be so mad when I couldn't say a word. I would get so mad because I wanted to be like those speakers who had the command of language and the power of their voice. I wanted to be like them. So, I think all of these things go into making you who you are. And we get to show different facets of that as we go through our lives. Different things come up. We get to do those different things, and we get to achieve so much more. We don't have any limits, and we're realizing that. That's where our consciousness has come to at this point, that we realize that we can do so much with our lives. In community, we can do so much. With one another, supporting one another, reveling in those talents that we see coming forth. Oh my gosh. The sky's not even the limit, right? The sky's no longer the limit. We can move throughout the universe and have an effect. So that's the wonder of what we can accomplish these days. And we also know that there's something called first cause. Now, that's kind of a philosophical term, when in philosophy that was a question. How did this all come into being? That's a big philosophical question. And a question for science, too, right? How did this all come into being? Well, the philosophers said, well, there was a first cause. There was something that caused this to come into being. The theologians say first cause was God. Maybe some scientists say, well, first cause was the Big Bang. But they leave out what made the Big Bang, right? So, first cause is that divine impetus that created everything. And first cause is, for me, spirit, living spirit, that has created this field of life that's everlasting, it's eternal, it's ever creative. And in each incarnation that we have the opportunity to participate in that at whatever level we want to. At whatever level. And I don't know about you, but I want to participate as fully as possible in creation. And sometimes I know that I feel like, oh my gosh, I just don't have any energy. And that's okay. We have those feelings sometimes, and we have those rhythms of our life. And yet, in those valleys, there's something that's happening too. Sometimes I call those things fallow times, where everything has to come together again. And it's kind of like building the kindling so that the spark can reignite, so that I can fill up again and then go out and do whatever it is that is mine to do. And believe me, it goes on for our entire life. Our entire life, even to our last breath, there is something that we are creating and contributing to. And of course, we know that there is no death, that life is eternal, even after we take our last breath. As we heard this morning, we have the ancestors present here, still seeding this place, taking care of this place, reminding us of those principles that we believe in and we uphold. That excites me. That really ignites the fire in me. So today we're talking about percolating our passion and purpose, right? And, I've used a lot of different metaphors so far, and I'll use another one of the percolator. How many of you remember what a percolator is, a coffee percolator? Okay, good. All right. I bought one for my son a couple years ago, and he has gone through, I think he's on his third one now, because sometimes they forget to turn it off or something, and they've burned up a couple, I think, and they're on their third one. But the percolator was kind of a thing that was present in every home, practically every home, either on the stovetop, where you lit the fire, and then it would the water would boil, and then it would go up. And there's a little glass ball on the top, and you can kind of see that first spurt of coffee go in it. And it just starts percolating. Then it gets harder and harder. And then finally, you have the perfect cup of coffee. I love percolated coffee. It is so good. And, I'm glad I bought that percolator for my son, because I get to enjoy that coffee when I go visit him. But that's kind of what we do with our passion, that it percolates when we can kind of identify it and allow it to be, and we put a little bit of energy there and focus, it starts to move, right? It starts to get that energy, and it starts to move upward, and then it manifests into what we focused on, whatever our goals are. That's what we get. We get that perfection, whether it's the perfect cup of coffee, or it's a service project that you're involved in, whether it's a play that is so much fun, or a concert that is amazing, or even a Sunday service where everything just falls into place in a way that makes sense and creates joy and gives us the truth of who we are. And the truth of who we are is we are all divine beings, right? That's who we are. We're those divine beings, here to manifest all of that energy of God, all of those ideals of God. We're the body of God, allowing that to happen here and now. That's wonderful. You know, a lot of people worry about their purpose, walk around, and, you know, I think that's kind of a worry of this age for some reason. What is my purpose? What is this about? What is my purpose? And I think we put too much emphasis on worrying about purpose, because it's really, really simple what our purpose is. Our purpose is to perfect our love. Perfect our love and live in joy. That's our only purpose here. So we can forget about any gigantic changing of the world. We don't have to become presidents and kings and queens and all of that. All we have to do is live in joy and perfect our love. And everything follows from that. That's where we transform, not merely change what is. And we have to be happy with what is and thankful for what is, right here and right now. That's why we sing that song every Sunday morning. Thank you for this day. We begin with that gratitude in the morning. And those of you who know me, I love getting out of bed, and I did that this morning. I was moving kind of moderate this morning, so I got out of bed, and I think I was being kind of graceful, maybe inspired by Mary Beth and being on stage. So I just kind of got out of bed, and I raised my arms, and I said, thank you, God, for this day, for all your gifts. And I brought them all down into my heart, right? And then I sent them out into the world, and then brought it all back into me. And that is such a simple practice. All we have to do is be grateful for what is. If we want to transform the world, it starts there. And, Howard Thurman reminds us that, let me get this quote. I actually highlighted it this time, thanks to Dave. Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because the world needs people who have come alive. So this week, let's come alive, right? Wake up in the morning. Give thanks for this breath. And with every breath, remember the word that you came up with this morning. This week, use that word to lead with every day, whatever it was. If it was abundance, use that word to lead with. And what did we see this morning? The abundance of Sandy's garden is right out there for anyone to create their own abundance in their garden with the lemongrass. That's what happens. Things just start to multiply and magnify when we start there with what brings us that incredible joy that brings us alive. So I love you all, and I know this week is going to be amazing, and so it is. And let's turn within and just taking that deep God breath, knowing that those words that have gone into the sanctuary this morning are percolating right here and right now. They are setting the stage for that perfection that God is to manifest here at Center for Spiritual Living, Menifee Valley, as we learn, as we mingle with one another, as we exchange those wonderful, wonderful greetings, and as we transform ourselves to go into the world in service and in love, we know that all is well. That anything that is unlike the perfection of God disappears into the nothingness from which it came. And what is left is love, joy, wholeness, and abundance. And I'm just so grateful for this. And I release my word into the action of the law, knowing that it is done. And so it is. So Bill is coming up, and I just want to make our pitch this morning for our offering. And, you know, our offering is what keeps the center going. And, you know, we're seeing this energy in all kinds of ways showing up. We're seeing it showing up as what I like to call green energy, right? And I suppose we have to change to electronic energy since a lot of people do things online now, right? But whatever it is,